Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Beatrice. If today is the first time seeing my channel, thank you for stopping by. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to draft and cut out this beautiful cow neck pleated or ruche dress. This particular video is going to be the pattern drafting tutorial. In my next video, I'm going to be showing you how to sew it. So if this is what you're interested in, keep on watching. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. So let's get right started. So in this project or tutorial, I'm going to be doing pattern drafting. So these are the materials you're going to need for this project. You're going to need your measuring tape, your masking tape. Um, I have my straight rule here. I have my box of pins because we're going to be pleating the skirt part. I have my scissors, my marker, my pencil, and my eraser for drafting. And I also have my chalk. I also have my Duchess fabric. This is 2.5 yards. If you're on a bigger side, you can use 3 yards and more. But for this project, for myself, I used 2.5 yards. So let's start the pattern drafting. So I marked out some lines here. This is my shoulder line. I marked out from my shoulder, I marked out 10 inches, which is my bust line. I marked out to the half length of this borders, which is 16 inches. I added half inch down to join the upper part to the skirt part of the dress. So what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be dividing our shoulder measurement. My shoulder measurement is 15.5. So I divided it into two and I have 7.89. So I marked it out here. I'm going to divide my armhole measurements. My armhole measurements round is 16 inches. So I'm going to divide that into two. So from this shoulder line, I'm going to mark down to 8 inch, but I'm going to come down by 8.5 because at the end of the day, I'm going to come down here by one inch for my shoulder slope. So I'm going to come down here by 1 inch, or rather still 0.75 as my shoulder slope. And then this line, I'm going to be drafting my back and front borders together. So from this line I marked 1.5 inch all the way down, 1.5 inch. So all our measurements is starting after this line. Now we're going to mark out our neckline. I'm going to use 3 inch, which is my standard neckline, and then I'm going to use my rule to connect it to the shoulder slope. Then I'm going to extend this line, my armhole line or my chest line. So I'm going to also use my ruler to get accurate lines. I'm going to mark out my shoulder measurement across, and then I'm going to connect it all the way down to the chest line. I'm going to make a detailed tutorial on how to draft a basic bodice block. So this one is also a basic bodice block, but I'm going to drop a detailed tutorial on that. So what we're going to be doing next right now is I'm going to get the midpoint of this line. So from this point, I'm going to go in by half of an inch. I'm going to use my ruler to connect it like so. Then I'm going to divide my bust measurement, which is 35. 35 divided by 4 to have 8.8 inch. I'm going to mark it out, and then I'm going to use my curved rule to kind of like make a connection. I'm going to connect it like so, and then I'm going to divide my waist measurement. My waist measurement is 29 inches. I'm going to divide 29 by 4, which is 7.3 inches. I'm going to mark it out on my waistline. I'm going to add 1.5 inch as stitching allowance. I'm also going to add 1.5 inch as stitching allowance on my chest line as well. I'm going to connect these lines like so. So from my neckline, for the depth of my neckline, I'm going to come down by 2 inches. After coming down by 2 inches, I'm going to use my curved rule to connect it like so. So what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be cutting this out. So after cutting this out, we're going to be using this pattern. We're going to draft out for the cowl neckline. So I'm going to, this is my bust line. From my bust line, I'm going to connect a line diagonally to the armhole like so. I'm going to stop at this zipper allowance line. I'm going to fold this inward because there's a design I want to make on this dress at the back. So I'm going to fold the center back to go inward. We're going to place this pattern and cut it out on the front part before we're going to alter the back part. So after you've cut this, don't worry about the zipper allowance side. That's what we have our masking tape. We're going to use it to cut. You're going to cut to that line like so. Don't cut to the end. Cut and leave out a little space out there. Don't cut to the ending side. So we're going to use this now to draft out the front cowl neckline. So I cut out my fabric on fold like so, and then the center part, the center front of this borders, I pinned it to the folded part of the fabric. So what we're going to be doing here right now is we're going to be shifting this like so. The more you shift this, the more in the front, the more cowl effect is going to give you in the front. So mine is 10.5 or even more, but I want this to be 10.5, of which is very okay. So when you've shifted it to the point where you want the cowl neck to be, you're going to pin this down. So what you're going to be doing right now is you're going to be taking your ruler from your shoulder line. You're going to connect your line like so to this point. You're going to connect your line to this point like so, and then you're also going to trace out the shoulder line, trace out the armhole line, then you're going to cut it out. After cutting out the front part, notch out the shoulder from the starting point of the shoulder line. This will enable you to know where to join with the back. Make sure you notch this out so it will give you an idea of where your shoulder is going to start and stop. For my cowl front neckline, I'm going to cut out a facing to turn it over, and then I folded another fabric on fold. So I'm going to cut it out. My facing is going to stop just like 1 inch or 2 inch downward from my armhole line. So that is how I want it. If you want yours longer, you can extend it. So you're going to cut it out to the shoulder line. At this shoulder line, you're going to have to notch this area. It's very necessary so you know when to join the shoulders to the back part. So this is me taping down the slashed area from my armhole to the middle point, and I also taped out my zipper allowance that we cut out. I'm also going to tape down my neckline that I cut out, so that I'm going to draft out another new neckline for the back. So after taping the slashed parts closed, I'm going to come down from my shoulder line which is 6.5. That's how long, or that's where I want that stylish top or design to stop. If you want yours to be open, you can come down by like 8 inches or 9, but I want it to be 6.5 inch. Then from this center line here, I'm going to go inward. I want to go inward by 2.5 inch. Then I'm going to connect to, sorry guys, I made an error here. Connect from the 3.5 inch to where your shoulder is connecting to the neckline, not at the center line, and go inward from the down part by 4 inch and connect it. So meanwhile, I'm going to be drafting my darts for this back borders. My nipple to nipple measurement, my bust span measurement is 4 inches. I'm going to mark it on my bust line, on my chest line, and also I'm going to also mark it on my waistline, and then I'll rule a line to connect this. Then I'm going to go inward from this line by half of an inch on both sides. Then I'm going to connect it all the way to the chest line. When I'm done connecting my darts to my chest line, I feel like extending this line, this nipple to nipple line upward as well, because I don't want my dress to be gaping. I'm going to extend it all the way to this armhole like so. So this is my alteration. I'm going to connect this line to the allowance line as well. So what I'm going to be doing right now is I'm going to be cutting this back part, and I don't want to stitch this dart on my I don't want to stitch this dart on my fabric. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be folding in the darts like so, or rather still, if it's going to give me a tough time, I'm going to slash this open. I actually made a mistake when slashing this. I'm going to correct this by slashing the darts on both sides because of that mistake that I made. When I'm done slashing it, I'm going to try to use my tape. It looks weird, but just try to take your time to tape this down. When taping this down, make sure it doesn't overlap so it won't affect your measurement. I'm done. I'm done taping this down. I don't want to stitch my darts to this dress. That is why I slashed it. So what we're going to be doing right now is we're going to be cutting out. So I'm going to take this and place it on my fabric and cut it out. So I placed my back pattern on top of my fabric on fold to cut out the two pieces of the back part. So I folded a fabric on fold. I'm using this part, one part of the back, to cut repetitively because I'm going to use this as my lining as well to turn it inside out. So for the sleeve, I've already drafted my basic sleeve pattern. I'm going to drop a link in the description box on how to draft a basic sleeve. So if you don't know how to draft a basic sleeve, just go to my description box and then you get the link there. So what I basically did was I'm going to be slashing and spreading this sleeve. So I just marked 1.5 inch, 1.5 inch like so. I marked 1.5 inch and then I ruled a line all the way up. So that's just basically what I did. I ruled a line. So what we're going to be doing right now is we're going to be slashing this. So I'm going to slash this, then spread it on my fabric and cut it out. So I'm done slashing this. If you don't want your pleats to be at the shoulder or the armhole area, you can skip cutting it all the way. You cut it and stop at the particular area so you can be able to spread it like so. But for me, I want to have a pleat at my armhole area or my shoulder area. That is why I cut it all the way around. So I'm going to place this on my fabric and spread it and cut it out. So what I'm doing here is I'm spreading out this pattern by 1.3 inch. I've spread it all the way to the other side, and then I'm going to add 1 inch at the down part at the hem of the sleeve. For my elastic casing, I marked out the shoulder line, and then I'm going to cut this out. This is for one sleeve. You place it and cut it out for the other second sleeve. So for the down part of the dress, which is the skirt part, I've already drafted my basic skirt pattern here. So I'm going to also make a tutorial on how to draft your basic skirt pattern. So what I actually did here is I came down by half of an inch. This half inch is what I'm going to use to stitch the upper part to the down part. And then what I did was, the length of my dress is 40 inches. So um I minus my half cut bodies. And then I marked out the length of the skirt. The length of the skirt is 40, but I added 1.5 inches stitching allowance to it. So we're going to use this dart. We're not going to use this dart. What we're going to be doing right now is we're going to be slashing and spreading. So from this upper part, now this drape, I want it to stop at a particular area. So I measured from my half inch, after the half inch stitching allowance, I measured 19 inches. That's where I want the drape to stop. So what we're going to be doing right now is we're going to be slashing this pattern. I'm going to space it by 2.5 inches. So what I'm going to be doing right now is I'm going to be connecting the lines. So we're going to slash and spread and stop at this particular area. From my after the half inch allowance, you're going to mark out 19. That's where I want my drape to stop. If that is where you want your drape to stop, or you want it longer, you can still do it all the way around to the length of the skirt. So what I'm going to be doing right now is I'm going to be slashing this and spreading. I'm going to number this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So after slashing and cutting out the pattern and labeling them according to their numbers respectively, what I'm actually doing here right now is I'm spreading it out by 1.3 inch. That is how I choose to spread mine. So you're going to spread your own by 1.3 inch and place the other one respectively till you reach the part that wasn't slashed, and then you leave it there. You're not going to spread out that particular area. So the part we didn't slash out, you're going to place it like so. You're going to pin it down. The ruche part of the skirt is not going to go all the way down. So I'm going to pin this down like so. This particular area, you're not giving space. This is where you want it to stop. You're going to place it to join together like so. The down part, this particular part, you're not adding extra inches. You're going to place it like so. Then you cut it out. You're going to place it like so. This particular down part, you cut it out. So after cutting this out, I'm going to just mark out these lines. This is going to help me when I'm pleating on my stitching machine. Or another way to know how to stitch exactly is before I cut out or I slash this, what I did was I would have gotten the length. That's before I slash it, I would have gotten the length to where the ruche is going to stop before slashing. Then when I'm pleating it, I'm going to pleat it with that measurement to be very sure. But even still, after that, when you take out your pins from this front part of the skirt, this is the front part of the skirt we've cut out. When you take out the pins, you can actually um, tape it together to get the measurement the top waist from the top waist to where the ruche is going to stop. Then when you're pleating on your stitching machine, you are going to have it in mind that that's the measurement you're going to pleat up to. Yeah, so I'm going to take off my pins, place this on top of my back. My back is going to have a zipper allowance, so I'm going to take my pins out and place this front part. The only difference between the front part and the back part is the zipper allowance, which I'm going to show you how I'm doing this. What I did here is I cut out another fabric on fold, which is the back part that contains the zipper area. So I just cut out the excess at the waistline. I marked out my zipper allowance 1.5 inch. So I'm trying to shift up the fabric so you can see the down part of it. Then I'm going to start cutting. So this is me cutting out the back parts from the down part and also from the sides. So I'm going to replicate the mark lines from the front to the back. So it will give me an idea of when I'm going to be pleating this on my stitching machine. So we've come to the end of this tutorial. I'll see you in my sewing class. Like and subscribe. Bye.